Oh, this is a big one. Is there racism in China? Can I get a scholarship to study in China? This is like one of my most common questions. Did it boost my career studying in China? For me personally, I'm gonna say yo. What's good, y'all? I know y'all haven't seen me in a while, but anyways, I'm back, and if this is your first time watching me, welcome man. I'm Don Dre. I make a lot of lifestyle content just about my life and what I do. So I wanted to make this video about some frequently asked questions about China, more specifically geared to going to university in China, because I have a few videos on my channel about my experience in China, and you guys seem to like that type of content. Y'all ask a lot of questions in my Instagram DMs, on YouTube in the comments, LinkedIn, WeChat, all over the place, bro. So I just wanted to answer some of y'all questions that y'all asked me directly from you guys. Just for some background, I lived in China twice, spending over 2.5 years living there. The first time I went to China, I studied abroad for a semester during my bachelor's program, and I loved it so much that I ended up attending a Chinese university to get my master's degree. So let's get into it, man. The first question we have here is from Russ4230. He says, did you know any Mandarin before you went? Short answer is no. The first time I went, I studied abroad in China. I didn't know any Chinese. I didn't study. I didn't try to practice it or anything. I do regret that, but the second time I knew I was going to go back to China, so I did end up studying some Chinese. My recommendation is, if you're going to China, honestly, if you're going to any country that speaks a different language, learn some of that language, because they don't speak your common language, even if it's English. So yeah, just so you could learn to maneuver and get around, learn the language before you go. Question number 2, I don't know who I got this from, but it says, do Chinese people speak English? Yes. Although they don't like to speak to people in English, because I feel like they're very shy or nervous about saying things incorrectly, they do speak English. Most of them, honestly all of them, learn English from when they're in primary school, but they don't speak it often. Honestly, they don't speak it to each other at all, and they most likely won't speak it to you even though they know you're a foreigner. So learn some Chinese, but you got to get them out of your shell if you want to get them to speak English. Next question, what's the transportation like in China? It is absolutely phenomenal. From everything from bike sharing to like motor scooters, electric e-bikes, EVs, trains, high-speed rails, everything is flawless. It's phenomenal. It works perfectly. It's always so clean. It's always on time. So efficient, man. China is so efficient, bro. Next, how is the food? I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna say it's 50-50, and that's me being non-biased, right? Me personally, there's some stuff I feel like it's a hit or miss. Like, there's some stuff that I really like, and there's some stuff that I hate. I feel like the proportions of protein or meat in the food is really small compared to like the carbs, like noodles and rice, and then you get like a couple of pieces of meat, and then the meat be having like bones in it, so it's mostly bone and not meat. But you're gonna find some places that's good as fuck. Excuse my French, but I feel like realistically, from the foreigners that I've spoken to that lived in China when I was living in China, they also didn't really like it much. But I don't know, who's to say what you're gonna like or not. The food is so drastically different depending on where you are in China. Like, if you go to Shanghai, they usually have sweet tastes, so a lot of the foods are more sweet. Or if you go to like Sichuan, foods are a lot more spicier. So it really depends on what you like and where you are in China. This next one, actually a lot of you guys asked me this: is there racism in China? The easy answer is yes. I think there's racism everywhere. We're kind of screwed as a society, but I will say, compared to the average racist experience you'll experience in America, you won't get that in China. They are not as racist, I'll say. You will get some times where people are being a little weird, or I don't know, just doing things out of the normal, but overall, I think people are very interested in your culture or learning about you. So you get a lot of people who stare at you or want to take pictures of you or with you, with or without your consent. So you better get used to it. But I think their quote unquote racism sometimes just comes from being very curious about your culture, because there's not a lot of foreigners in China. To be real with you, I have like experienced racism where like there was this time I remember vividly walking down the street, and it was not really many people on the street, but it was like a busy road kind of next to us, but on the sidewalk it wasn't anybody there, and it was me and her. I was walking this way, she was walking this way, and then she looked up and see me, like she was on her phone, looked up and see me, and then she like literally walked in the street to like not walk next to me on the sidewalk. It was crazy. I was like there's literally no need to do that, but whatever. And there was another time where I got denied from a club before. There was like literally no black people tonight. I'm like, what? Like, I've been here before. But anyways, other than that, that was like the extent of the racism I've experienced in China. This next question is from, I don't even know how to pronounce this, AOUN193. Aeon? I don't know. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Did it boost my career studying in China? For me personally, I'm going to say yes. The basis of a lot of conversations that I have, I mentioned this before, when I introduce myself to people and then when you start to talk about your life story, that's one of my recent, I don't know, points in my life. So it comes up, right? And, you know, people are interested in what you do when you first meet them. So once that topic comes up, I feel like people are super interested. And me studying in China kind of makes me stick out, so I think people remember me more, and from that is open up a lot of opportunities. Realistically, what I'm doing now, like the position I have now in terms of my work and career, I got not necessarily because I studied in China, but that was a big point into how I got connected to the people who then ended up hiring me. So for me personally, I'm gonna say yes, but I think it depends on your career in your industry. So I'll say be conscious of what you want to do and where you want to go after, because maybe there's some careers out there, maybe like public sectors where it's like a governmental organization, they want you to be from a specific university or go to school in specific areas, whatever. But another thing is to look out for, there is some Chinese universities that lack those accreditations. So if that's something that's very important in your career, then make sure you go to a university in China that has those accreditations, because not all of them have the same accreditations. Can internationals find jobs in China? Big one here. Yes, however, it is very competitive. Realistically, I think China wants to hire Chinese people before internationals. Makes sense because they have a large population, so they need to make sure that everybody in their population could eat, right? So they'd rather hire somebody from their home country compared to an international. Also, internationals, depending on where you're from, cost more. So rather than have to pay somebody a higher salary than just hiring somebody not only from your own country, but somebody who's a cheaper labor, sad to say, but they would prefer to hire somebody Chinese. Also, they don't like a job doesn't have to spend money on a visa, and also they prefer to speak somebody who speaks English, right? Because most of their business or whatever the case is in that career is in Chinese. So if you are a foreigner, you better speak pretty good Chinese. It sounds like a lot of negatives, but it is really complicated and difficult. However, there is positions out there that you can get. I have a lot of friends who've lived in China for a long time, worked in China for a long time. I've had friends who've gotten job right out of graduating university in China. But another thing to note, if you do get your bachelor's degree, it is still required to have 2 years of experience to work in China as an international. But if you get a higher education degree, like a graduate degree, postgrad degree, whatever, PhD, whatever, you don't need that 2 years of experience to work in China. So keep that in mind if you only have a bachelor's degree. Is it easy to get a visa in China? Yeah, I don't think it's that difficult. Like if you get accepted to a university, you basically can get a visa to go to China. Like as long as you don't have a bad criminal record or whatever, and your health is good, etc., you're basically guaranteed a visa at that point. Yeah, so just try to get a job or try to get accepted to a university and you basically got a visa. All right, next question is from Omer Omite. That's a pretty cool name. Can you visit other countries on a student visa? Yes and no. If you're studying in China short term, for example, if you're doing like 1 semester short term study abroad program, no, because you'll be, I think it's the X2, if I'm not mistaken, X2 visa, which is a short term visa. So you're only allowed one entry, meaning you go to China and you can only study in China and you can't like leave and come back. If you do, then you'll have to reapply for a new visa. And that's a pretty complicated process at that point. But if you're doing a long-term program, like a full year language program, or you're fully enrolled as like a bachelor's or master's student, you'll have what's called an X1 visa, if I'm not mistaken. And with that visa, you're allowed multiple entries. Granted, you do have to renew it once a year, but you can leave in and out of China, travel to different countries, and come back whenever you want. Go home and come back whenever you want. So yes and no. This is from Christine Tamuno 8849. Hi, please, can you work as a master student? Yes, you can work as a master student. Generally, it'll be an internship though, so not necessarily a real job. But I think if you live in China, like before you went to school to China, so if you have, I don't know what visa it is, but you're like a living person in China, as an international, then you can study and work an actual job in China. But if your purpose is you're under a student visa and you went to China for the purpose of study, then you can work as an intern and you can get paid. Granted, salaries are wish-washy, not the best, but it's something. But also, if you go to, like, I think it's a international school, so for example, if you go to NYU Shanghai, you can work on campus because that classifies as you not being in China, so you can have an on-campus job at a university like NYU Shanghai. Is it possible to become a permanent resident in China? Oh, that's a difficult question. I think that goes beyond my expertise, but I know it's possible, but I've heard it is complicated. Like, I've met people in China that have been living in China for 10-15 years and still can't get a permanent residence in China. So if that's your goal, go for it for sure, but yeah, do some research on that other than what I'm giving you here, because it is super complicated. Next is from Henry Ohaya Eri. Yo, you guys have some complicated names, man. Anyways, Henry, do I need the IELTS? Do I need to take the IELTS? Yes, if you don't come from an English speaking country. For me, I came from the US. We're an English speaking country, so I didn't need to take the IELTS. And if you're doing an English program in China, then they want to make sure that you can speak fluent English. Same thing if you are doing a Chinese language based program in China, you have to take the HSK because they want to make sure you're fluent in Chinese to be able to study in Chinese. So it all depends on what country you come from. Can I get a scholarship to study in China? This is like one of my most common questions. Yes, all of you guys can get a scholarship to study in China. It's really not that complicated. I think the requirement for bachelor students, you have to be under the age of 25. For master students, you got to be under the age of 35, and I think PhD under the age of 45. And yeah, as long as you're in fairly good academic standing, realistically, it's just the age thing. Then yeah, you can study and get a scholarship in China. There's a lot of scholarships out there. One of the most popular ones is the Chinese government scholarships. Go look it up, go do some research, and go get that scholarship. All right, next is from Creed 404YT9. Do you need good marks to benefit from one, which is the scholarship? Realistically, I'm not sure. I don't think you do. I think you need decent grades because, of course, it's a lot of competition. There's people from all different countries applying for scholarships in China. So if you want to beat out the competition, one of the ways to do that is have good grades. I had pretty good grades, so that was one of the things, I guess, that helped me study in China. But if you don't, I suggest writing a good study plan and acing your interview. The study plan is, I think, essentially just a few pages of why you want to study in China, what made you decide to study in China, and what do you plan on doing in the future. Just really highlight those experiences and try to connect everything you've done in your past to why you decided to apply and study in China, because I think that's how you stick out. And also just have a pretty good resume, like of things you did, you built, you've been a part of, and I think that'll help you stick out. Next question is from S.A. Oh, is this Saeed Adam? I think this may be Saeed Adam. Should you know how to speak Chinese before applying? No. You do have to pass certain HSK tests to graduate. For example, I think some bachelor's programs are maybe HSK 4. Some master programs are HSK 3 to 5 to 6. Also bachelor's as well. Realistically, no, but you will have to before you graduate. So I'll say start studying now. And when you're in your program, you will have Chinese classes that you will study in. So that's also a good way to learn as well. But I'll suggest trying to your best to get to like HSK 3-ish before you get there. It sounds hard, but it's not that difficult. 2 for sure you can do. 3 maybe get close, but of course you don't need any. But when it's time to graduate, you need to pass an HSK test to graduate, so keep that in mind. Next is from Art Yom Tim. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna just call you Art, bro. Is it possible to get a CSC scholarship or any other scholarship from China if you're only coming to study an exchange program for a year? Yes, I think the CSC scholarship does offer scholarships for language programs for a year. Also, there's universities out there that give scholarships for a shorter program, like a study abroad program. When I studied abroad in my bachelor's degree, I got a scholarship from my home university to study in China for free. So that was the first scholarship I got to study in China, and then the second one was the CSE for my master's. So there's scholarships out there. Yes, you can get it for short-term programs. Are there scholarships for people not in the US or Europe? Yes. People all over the world study in China on scholarships. There's a lot of people I met from Africa who studied in China. I met people from Singapore. I met people from Brazil. I met people literally from everywhere, man. Europe, like literally everywhere. South America, you name it. I've met people from those countries studying in China on scholarships. The CSC does offer it for a lot of different countries. There's even some countries out there who have partnerships with China. So if you visit the Chinese embassy in your home country, there's a possibility that they're giving them out and you just need to like interview for them and you can get it. So yeah, definitely check there first, and if not, then you can search online and apply directly through a university. Next is China Pro LGBTQ. This is from I don't know how to say your name, but this is actually a really good question. I would say yes. I would say being from the LGBTQ community doesn't hinder your experience at all. There is gay clubs out there. There is lesbian clubs out there, however you want to say it. I've been to them before. I'm not a part of the community, but I have been to them before. They're pretty cool. There's a lot of people out there that are from that community. But I will say I haven't really seen like advertisements within that community. For example, like maybe like banners or murals or artwork or just stuff promoting the LGBTQ community. But I think it's legal in China to like get married being from that community. So yeah, I'll say they're pro LGBTQ. Which one is the best English or Chinese taught programs? This is from Reichi Eloka. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I think it's unfair to say which is the best or not, because you can't even say that anywhere. Like in the US, you can't say what Harvard is the best university in the US, because it's not, right? Every university kind of specializes in different things. Sure, some overall are better than others, but I think it depends on what your major is and what you're studying. So yeah, there's a lot of great universities out there in China. Just try to find something that's really good within the major you're looking for and go for it. Like there's some schools that specialize in business. There's some that specialize in computer science or engineering. So it all depends on what you want to study. So I think it's unfair to say which one is the best or not. I think that was a good enough amount of questions for you guys. That basically wraps up this video today. Hopefully I answered you guys' questions. If you have more, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or comment under this video. If you have more questions, comment under this video. I will be more than open to making a part 2 if you guys want a part 2. I know this is a really chill video today, but I just wanted to answer some questions for you guys because I get them a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a busy man. I don't have a lot of time to just be reading and responding to comments every day. Some of you guys literally want me to go through the whole process for you, which I'm not going to do. Feel free to ask me as many questions as you want, and when I get the chance, I'll answer them, and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. But honestly, for this video, that's it. I hope to see you guys soon. I'm trying not to slack, so be open to more videos. I have so many ideas. I just need to execute on them. I be so busy. Like I'm working, I'm running businesses, like I'm trying to travel, like I'm doing a lot, bro. I'm literally doing a lot. I'm never in the same place for a long period of time. So give me some grace. And I really, 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 truly appreciate the feedback I've been getting from you guys recently. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for reaching out. It really means a lot to me. I honestly made this channel to build a community of just people who are interested in the same things that I am. And so far, the people who have reached out to me have been expressing that interest. So I'm glad to start building that community. And I'm super grateful for YouTube for giving me this opportunity to build that community. So with that being said, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.